In honor of Lewis Capaldi's new music video that's making everybody cry, here is my top 5 list of dog movies that have made me cry the most. Please note that while I will be counting down this list, I will not be rating these movies from worst to best. I will be rating them by how much they made me cry based on intensity, number of times it made me cry, and length of said cries. I am going to do my best to avoid spoilers, but I am going to tell you whether or not the dog dies, as long as it's not like a major spoiler for the movie. Starting with number 5, a classic, Homeward Bound. Fantastic movie, but it really only had one sad moment, but that sad moment was really intense. I'm sure most of you have heard of this movie, but if you haven't, it's about 2 dogs and a cat who get separated from their family, and it's about their journey coming home. Notably, the dogs do not die in this movie unless you know the fan theory, which makes the ending that much sadder, but that's a whole nother video. Coming in at number 4 is Hachi. This is a true story about a dog and what they did after their owner passed away. There aren't a lot of sad moments in here, but the sad moments are pretty heart-wrenching. In addition, it was a really great movie, well worth the watch. Coming in at number 3, this one really caught me off guard, and this is The Art of Racing in the Rain. This movie is the story about a dog whose owner wants to become a professional racer. And I think the part that made me cry the most was that I didn't expect to cry at this movie. The big takeaway from this movie is that dogs aren't with us for that long, but they follow us through multiple chapters in our life that are clearly defined. The part that made me cry hit me like a ton of bricks. Notably, the dog does die in this movie. But that's not even the part that made me cry. Check it out. Coming in at number 2 was Togo. It's on Disney+. If you're familiar with Balto, this is in the same vein. Togo also helped deliver medicine the same way that Balto did. Balto is famous for running the last leg of that run, and Togo is famous for running the longest leg of that run. Well worth the watch. Willem Dafoe kills. The reason that this hits number 2 on my list is the amount of times that I cried. I mean, I cried like 15, 16 times throughout this whole movie. I will not spoil whether or not the dog dies. If you do want to find out before you watch the movie, there is a website called doesthedogdie.com, and you can check there to see if the movie contains, the dog dying. Number 1 is A Dog's Purpose, and it follows a dog as they're reincarnated throughout their lives, and eventually it loops back around to his original owner. This is number 1 because I basically spent the whole movie crying. At its core, it's basically a series of short stories, how he does this one thing with this person, and then he dies and he's reincarnated, and he dies and then he's reincarnated, and it tells each of those stories. The dog does die a bunch in this movie, but it's not really the focus of the story, and you barely notice it in a lot of situations. Now, I know I said that I wasn't rating that based on how good the movie was, but all 5 of the movies that I listed were well worth the watch. If you have any more dog movies that made you cry, put it in the comments below. I'd love to watch them if I haven't seen them yet.